Hello guys, this is Web Dev Mania and I'm going to show you right now the demo of my full stack chat application. So first, as you see, we have here a login or register depending on your needs. So I already have created an account, so I'm going to log in here. So test user 1234 at gmail.com and here the password 123123. I know it is very secure. Here I click login. And you see here we have click conversations, no messages yet. Here I have sent one message on this conversation and here test 2. And here I have sent some messages, but let me log in from Google Chrome and I want to show the functionality which is like the main functionality here in a chat application. So click again never. So we can send live messages. What do I mean by this? So if I make it like this, scroll to the bottom here and when I type here hey, you see here it is typed here automatically to that user. I can type whatever I want and this is enabled by socket.io. So this is the application, guys. I hope you like it and see you in development. Hello people, let's start developing. So the first part that we should do is go into the clients folder. So write with me cd client and let's initialize our React application. So let's type npx create -react-app space and a dot. The dot means that it is going to initialize our React application in the directory that we are in, which as you see here, it is the client directory. So this will take around 3 minutes, so I'm going to edit this part of the video. Hello again, so our React application has been initialized as you see here. And here you may notice the assets folder here. I have an image. I just downloaded some image. You can find it here into the GitHub link that I'm going to paste in the description of that video. So we just have some image for the conversation of these women here. Okay, so let's start first by removing the boilerplate files that we have here. So I'm going to leave only 3 files here and I want to remove this one too. So I only leave app.css, app.js and index.js. So here in those files, let's remove the code here that's imported from the files that we have just removed. So you just leave this here. Let's remove this thing here. And let's remove everything to the app.css. And right now we are going to write some default stylings that we want our whole application to have into the app.css. So the asterisk means that we target everything and I want the box sizing of border box, then margin of 0 and as well padding of 0 just to remove any default margin and padding that some HTML elements have. Here user select none, font family is going to be of Arial, Helvetica, Sans Serif and overflow is going to be hidden. And here we have a few other styles that I'm going to get from the GitHub. Those are for the scroll bar. So you don't need to know them, you just need to copy paste them. I'm going here and as you see them, this is just for the scroll bar. So I can paste them just to have a beautiful scroll bar later when we are going to develop our application. Okay, so let's close our app.css and let's download our dependencies. So here I'm going to have a few dependencies. They are not going to be that much. So here cd into client, npm I, and the first dependency is React Redux, then React Router DOM, then React Redux, not React, Redux persist. After this we are going to install socket.io-client, this for the socket. Then I think this is the one dependency, yes, time ago JS, this is for formatting date. So imagine when you are on a social media application, you see when someone chat you that the message was like 5 minutes ago, and this library is doing this exact thing, formatting the date. So click enter and they are going to be installed just in a second. So I'm going to close here the terminal. Okay, so let's make into the source directory a components and let's make our 5 folders that we're going to have for our application. So we're going to have a login, obviously, then a register. After this, we're going to have conversation, message, and the last component that we're going to have is home. Okay, so this is it. And let's go into each directory here and let's make the 2 files. So one is for the JSX as you see here, and the other one is for the styling sheet. So register.module.css. If you wonder why I type here .module, this is for CSS modules. It is basically vanilla CSS. So if you don't know React modules, don't worry, you don't need to learn anything. So here I'm going to import them. And the only difference here is that every single class that I'm going to write here is inside this classes object. So here, let's say that I want to target the container. This is how I target it. Like this is like vanilla CSS. But here, if I want to write container, usually in vanilla CSS you write it like this, but in modules you write it like this, classes.container. It is nothing complex, guys, as you see here. It is basically vanilla CSS. So this for the register. Let's go into the other directory. So here, message.jsx, rfce. If you wonder how I do this rfce, I'm going to tell you right now. It is basically this extension here. If you don't have it, install it. It is that one with 7 million downloads. Okay, let's here make the styling sheet. So message.module.css, and let's import it. So here, import classes from message.module.css. Then let's go to the login and make the same thing. Login.jsx, login.module.css, and here let's import it. So successfully imported here again, and we have two left. So here home.jsx, home.module.css, and here import classes from home CSS, and the last one finally, guys, conversation.jsx. I usually like to do it that way to make my file and folder structure beforehand to know what I'm going to develop, and that's how I have a better picture in my head of what is coming up. And a lot of people do this, it's not something that I do specific. Okay, so let's close those files here, and I'm going to leave the app.js here just to make my routes. You know, I installed React Router DOM. So the routes are going to be quite easy because we have only 3 routes. One for the login, register, and the home page. So let's make them. Here I'm going to write here the routes, and here the route individually. But I need to import them beforehand, obviously. So let's import them from route, and they are imported from React Router DOM. Okay, here for the home page, the path is going to be on the home path, and the element, of course, for the home is going to be the home component. So actually, let me open here the home component just to tell the IntelliSense to import it. So here I remove the last letter, I add it back, and I click here, and it is imported, as you see here. And we have 2 more routes, as I told you. So here login, and here register. So let me open here my login and my register, and let's import them. So here login imported, as you see here from the IntelliSense, and here register. Okay, so they imported, and in order for the routes to work, the final step here is to go into the index.js and here import browser router, as you see here again from React Router DOM. And I'm going to copy it and paste it here. Okay, so this part is ready. We can go to the home page right now to develop it. So for the home page, where it is going to be the biggest component, I'm going to tell you right now, everything is going to be there. So let's start. The home page is going to have here the class name of wrapper, of container, and inside the container we're going to have a class name of wrapper, and here we're going to have a left side. So you see, before I'm doing anything, you see how I'm typing the JSX here, dot, curly braces, classes, dot, and here left in this case, and automatically by default it is a div. Here I can specify a div or I cannot. It is by default a div, it is no problem. But if I want to type a paragraph, I need to write here p before the dot, or h1 or h2, you get me. But with a div it is by default, so I don't need to type anything before the dot. So here I click left, and you know, when we have a left side, we have a right side too. So let's start first with the left side. Our left side here is going to have at the top classes.title, and it's going to be an h2. So let me type here h2, and it is going to be web dev mania, the channel's name. And below I'm going to have the conversations. So here let me type the conversation, and I can import it. So here remove the last letter, add it back. This is how I like to import things. And I'm going here to paste for conversations just to hear them. Okay, this is it for the left side, and for the right side, here we're going to have few things. So I'm going to have here classes other user data. This is basically the other user that we are inside the conversation, because the conversation is consisted of me and another user, and this for the another user data. So here it is he or she is going to have an image, the other user. So here the image name is going to be woman in our case, and the class name is going to be classes dot other user image. So I can import the image here. So import woman from quotes dot slash assets slash and woman dot ivf. Ivf, I'm not sure how this is pronounced. It's not that important. Okay. So here we have written that part, and below we're going to put the title. So here h4 dot classes dot person username, and the username is going to be, let's put it for a woman. I don't know, like I cannot think of woman name right now. Let's put it Ivana. This is from my home country, a woman name. I cannot think right now of an English name. Okay, so this is it. And below this we're going to give classes dot messages, and below messages we're going to have the message component, obviously. So let me go here, let's open it and let's import it. So here I'm going to paste few messages, and I think this is it for now for the messages here. Yes, and below this we're going to have here classes dot input and btn. This is for our input, and the btn to send the message. So here input is going to be again of a type text. Here let's type a placeholder, so type message dot, and the class name for the input is going to be classes, here inside the curly braces, of course, classes dot input. And below we're going to have a button, and the button is going to be of the class name of classes submit btn, and it's going to be sent. So this is for now for the home page. Let me start our server here, cd client, and let me see how it is looking like right now. So it is going to take, I don't know, like 5 or 10 seconds. It's going to be very fast. So as you see here, it has already been started. We're going to wait a few seconds for it to be loaded, and as you see here, it looks right now, the page looks very ugly because we have no CSS. So we can go into our styling sheets, but before, I suggest that we write the conversation and the message because they are not that long. So we can go first into the conversation component, and here it's going to be again here class name of classes dot container, then classes dot wrapper, and here we're going to have an image, this same image that we used of this lady here. So I can copy here the path, I can paste it, and here again source of woman, so I can copy paste here to avoid any typo, and the class name is going to be of classes dot person image. Below this we're going to have classes dot metadata. This is going to contain here classes dot other username, which let's put it here again, the same name here, and here the last message convo. So last message convo, and here let's put some war and some random text just like this. And actually I want to make it on a few lines because it's taking a lot of, as you see here, it's a very big line. Okay, and let's style the conversations. So let's go into our styling sheets, and we're going to have for the container a width of 100% and height of 90 pixel. Then for the wrapper, we're going to have a padding of 0.25 IRM top and bottom, and left and right half IRM. Below this, width of 100%, height of 100%, display of flex, align items center, gap of 16 pixel. Below the gap we're going to have background color of this color, so type with me RGB. 26, 46, 47, 105. This is the RGB color. It's like a darkish blue color. And here the cursor of pointer, and the text color is going to be of a white color. So this is for the wrapper. And this for the wrapper, and let's put a hover effect on the wrapper as well. So background color is going to be of RGB 33, 15, 59, 130. This is again a bluish color, but a little bit more whiter, I think. Yes. And here below this text color, which is again a little bit different. It's like slight grayish, between light and gray. So EEE 3E, then 8E8. This is it for the hover of the wrapper. Below this, we're going to target the person image. So the person image is going to have a mean width of 50 pixel, mean height of 50 pixel, max width of 50 pixel, max height of 50 pixel, border radius of 50%, object fit of cover, and margin right of 5 pixel. Then below the person image, you know, we have the metadata here. So let's target the metadata. So metadata is going to have display of flex direction of column, and the lastly gap of 4 pixel, just a slight gap. And the last class name that we're going to style here is the last message convo. So it's going to receive a font size of 15 pixel, color of 999, margin top of 3 pixel, overflow of hidden, text overflow of ellipsis, white space of no wrap, max height of 15 pixel, and max width of 70%. If you wonder what those styles here are for, this is, imagine here the last message here from that conversation is that long, and it is going to overflow very hard. It is basically, when it is overflowing, you see those dots here. But right now it is still very long because we have not styled the message, and here we have not provided for the left and right side any width. So don't worry about this, we're going to shorten it in just a second. So let's go into the message here, and let's start typing the JSX for the message. So let's go here, let me close this first, and let's go. So class name is going to be here classes.container. Then here we're going to have classes.wrapper, and here we're going to have again the same image, so I can just go here and copy paste it. So where it was, yes, here the woman image, let's paste it, and here the source is going to be of a woman again, and the class name here is going to be of classes.person image. Below this we're going to have a div. The div is with the class name message and time ago. And here we're going to have first the classes.text, and the text, let's put some random text. So hey, how are you? Okay, so this for the classes.text. Below this we're going to have classes.time ago, and let's put it like 5 hours ago. And it's going to be, actually it's not going to be a div as I written here, it is going to be a span. Not that it is a big difference, but in my code as I see, it is a span. And this is it for the message. So let me see how it's looking right now. Okay, we need to style here the home component. So let's go into the home.module.css and let's start styling. So the container is going to receive a height of 100 VH, width of 100 VW. So this basically taking the whole page. Margin top of 40 pixel, display of flex, align items of center, and justify content of center. Wrapper is going to receive 90% of height, width of 55%, margin of 0 auto, display of flex, and here background color of RGB 26, 47, 105. So let me see how it's looking right now. Okay, we have still to style, but here as I see, why it is not styled that image. Let me go back here to the message.js, to module, here to the message.module.css, and I here forgot to type the stylings. Okay, let me go here back to the message.module.css. Here I forgot to type the styling sheet, so leave the home.module.css. We have written very few styles, and let's go back to the message.module.css. So here .container is going to receive a width of 35%, margin bottom of 50 pixel. Then we're going to have a wrapper of display of flex, align items of center, justify content flex, and margin left of auto. Or actually this for the container, but .own. You see here, we have this message here, but this message is going to be aligned on the left side, because you know when you send a message, it is on the right side of most social media applications, and in our case it is going to be the same. But if the message comes from the other person, that means that it needs to be on the left side. So this is what that code means here. Right now we have no container.own, but we're going to have later when we fetch from the database information. But let's continue. So here we have a wrapper, display of flex, align items of center, and gap of 12 pixel. Then we're going to target the message and time ago. So display of flex, flex direction of column, and below this we're going to have a gap of 5 pixel. And then we are going to target the text itself here. So margin 0 auto, max width of 100 pixel, because if the text is too long, it is going to go on the next line instead of overflowing. So this is why we have max width. And here word trap break word, so it's going to go on to the next line. That's what this means. Background color is going to be of a white color. Then text color is going to be of RG 26 47 105. Then padding of 0.5 on top and bottom, and left and right 1 item, border radius of 20 pixel, and font size of 15 pixel. Then we're going to target the time ago, so color of 999, and margin left of 6 pixel. And the last, the image here. So the image is going to have width of 50 pixel, height of 50 pixel, object cover, and border radius of 50%. So right now I think should look a little bit better. Okay, here is that image, but you cannot see it because of this image here that right now we are going to style. So let's go back into our home.module.css, and guys, don't worry, it is going to look amazing in just a few minutes, so stick with me. I have written the code previously and I have tested it, so don't worry. So here for the title we're going to have RGB of 219, 211, 211. Then padding of 0.4 on top and bottom, and left and right of 0.8. Then border bottom of 1 pixel, solid 000. Below height of 60 pixel, display of flex, align items of center, and justify content center. This for the title. Okay, and you know we have a left and a right side. So here let me type here left, and here a right side. So the left side is going to have a flex of 1.25 and border right of 1 pixel, solid 000. And the right side is going to have a flex of 4, display of flex, flex direction of column, and justify content space between. So this is going to take 4 units, and this is going to take 1.25 units. So right now we are going to see, you see how we have some progress, but we have still a long way to go. So don't worry, we are going to write it. So this is it for now. Let's go below the right, and here we have to target the other user data. So the other user data is going to have a padding of 0.45 on top and bottom, and left and right of 0.8. Display of flex, align items of center, gap of 12 pixel, margin bottom of 0.8 item, and border bottom of 1 pixel, solid 000. So let me close here the terminal, and actually here I can do like this if you want, guys. I think it's going to be better for you if you look it like this to know what we are styling. So here the other user data is the image and the h4. So let's continue. Next we're going to have here the messages, and the messages are going to receive a height of 85, width of 100%, overflow y of auto, and padding of 0.4, left and right, top and bottom 0.4, and left and right 0.8. And right now we're going to target here the image, so finally this image is going to be a little bit smaller. So other user image is going to be of width of 45 pixel, height of 45 pixel, object fit of cover, and border radius of 50%. So right now let me see how it look right now. Okay, it is looking good, but we still have a long way to go. So below this we're going to target the person username, so it's going to be a font size 19 pixel and color of FFF. Then we're going to target the input btn, so it is going to receive a display of flex and align items of center, only this. And below this we're going to target here the input class like this, and it is going to receive a width of 90%, height of 44 pixel, padding left of 0.4 IRM, border of none, border bottom of 1 pixel, solid RGB 26, 47 and 105, and below transition of 150 milliseconds and all. So this for the input. Let's target the input focus. So the input focus is going to receive an outline of none and padding left of 1 IRM. Below this we're going to target the submit btn. It's going to receive, but before targeting the submit btn, I just want to see, you see how it's looking right now. It is slowly getting better and better, as you see here. At least for me it is looking amazing for now, but we have a long way still to go. So here a width of 10%, height of 45 pixel, text align of center, outline of none, border 1 pixel solid transparent, background color of blue, color of FFF, and cursor of pointer. And below we're going to target again the submit btn, but for the hover effect. So the hover effect is going to receive a border color of blue, the text color, and below the background color is going to be of a light. So FFF. Let me see how it's looking right now. Okay, and when you hover, you see here the effect. But here I think the margin top is unnecessary. Let me remove it and see how it's looking right now. Okay, that way the application looks better. And here the input, have I written here border bottom for the input? Yes, I have. If I make 2 pixel, how it is going to look right now? Okay, I'm going to leave it like this, or 3 pixel. Let me see. I'm going to leave it at 2 pixel just to have something here. Okay, and when you see when I hover, this is moving, so you know when it is focused and when it is not. So this is for the home, and for the home here CSS. Let me close it and let's navigate here to the login and register. So let me open here the login, and as you guys know, in most applications the login and register are very similar. Okay, so in the login and register are going to be our first components in this application that are going to interact with the database. So let's start. They're going to be the most interesting. So here we're going to receive here a class name of classes.container .classes wrapper. Then we're going to have here the title an h2 of classes.title, and the title is going to be over login. Below we're going to have here a form, and the form is going to have label, and inside the label we're going to have here an input field, and in this case this is going to be for the email. So here enter email, and it is going to receive here an ID of email and a type of email. But here you see here we have a type text, so here I can change it like this. Okay, in here, because we have specified an ID, I want to connect it with the label here, so I can just do it like this. Here I can copy paste this and paste it again, and this is for the password. So here I can copy this. So if you wonder how I can do this, you can click Ctrl and D. So I'm going to again click this, Ctrl and then D, and here change password, and here click again somewhere, and it is over. So this is how you can target multiple things at once. And below this we are going to have here classes submit btn for the button, and the button is going to be our login. And below here we're going to have a link that is going to navigate us to the register page if we have login. So here to register, and here don't have an account, here a paragraph, and here the class name is going to be classes.register, register now. And here the link I need to import it, so let me import it here. It is from React Router DOM, and it is successfully imported. Okay, and below the form, you see here the form, and below here I'm going to have an error message if we have an error. So here, if the error is true, we're going to have here error message, and the message is going to be wrong credentials, try different ones. So this is it for the JSX. Let me go into the styling sheets and let's start with. So the styling sheets are going to have container height of 100 VH, width of 100 VW, display of flex, align items of center, justify content of center, background color is going to be of RGB 106, 194. Below this we're going to have a position of absolute, so here position of absolute, top 0, left 0, and the index of 999. So this is basically taking the whole page. Okay, so this is for the container. Let me navigate here to the wrapper class. So here dot wrapper, and it is going to have a display of flex direction of column, align items of center, justify content of center, padding of 2 IRM. Below this we are going to have border of 1 pixel solid RGB 160, 146, 146. So I'm again going to do the same trick here, clicking this and being able to see the JSX and the CSS simultaneously. So here error is not defined, so here I'm going to define just some variable error just to have it here, and I'm going to navigate here to the /login. So here, this is how it looks right now. We have still a long way to go to style this. Not long way to go, but here we're still in the beginning of styling it. So here, let's target the h2, which is here .login, as you see here. I can just target it as a title, like this. I don't know why I have targeted like this previously. So margin bottom is going to be of 20 pixel, then color of RGB 58, 54, below font weight of both, and background color is going to be of F4. Then we're going to target the form, so wrapper form is going to receive here a display of flex direction of column. Below this we're going to have align items of center, justify content of center, gap of 20 pixel, and background color of this same color that we have from the title. So I'm just going to copy paste it, and let me see. So little by little we are getting there. So let's continue. Then we are going to target the form. So here let's go. Padding of 0.75 on top and bottom, and left and right of 1.25. Then background color of transparent, border of 2 pixel solid RGB 173, 171, 171, border radius of 12 pixel, background color is going to be of again this same color, so I can just copy it and paste it. Okay, the next is the submit btn, but before going to the submit btn again, I want to see how it's looking right now. Okay, little by little we are getting there, don't worry. So for the submit btn we're going to have an outline of none, then border of 1 pixel solid transparent, then padding of 0.75 IRM, border radius of 20 pixel, background color is going to be of RGB 106, 106, 194. Color is going to be of FFF. Cursor is going to be of pointer. Then margin of 6 pixel, 6 pixel top and bottom, and 0 on left and right. And then margin bottom of 3 pixel. Okay, so this for the submit btn, and we're going to target again the submit btn, but for the hover effect, as you know. So border color is going to be of this color, so I'm going to copy paste it here. Then the background color is going to be of a white, so FFF, and the text color is going to be again of this color, so I can again copy paste it and paste it. So this is for the hover effect. Let me see. You see how it's looking right now, but still we have a long way to go. And I see that it's kind of ugly here, that button, and here it is because you see here the padding, I forgot to place 2 IRM here. So right now you see it's looking much better. Okay, so here write 2 IRM here for the left and right. So below the hover effect, I'm going to target this thing here, the link here for the register. So wrapper form anchor tag, text decoration of none. Then color is going to be of inherit, margin top of 15 pixel, and background color of F4, F4, F4. Then we're going to target the register class, which is this paragraph here, as you see here, which is register now, this thing here. So let's go. So dot register, I'm just going to do it like this. Okay, so dot register is going to be width of 100 pixel, border bottom of 1 pixel solid, 999. Then padding of bottom is going to be 0.2, just 0.2 IRM, margin of 0 top and bottom, and left and right auto. Then margin top of 10 pixel, text align of center, and background color again of F4, F4, F4. And here I forgot to write hyphen color, so let me type it. Okay, hyphen color. Below the register, we're going to target the register itself with the hover effect. So the hover effect is going to be just the text color, so 666 for the text color. And lastly, we're going to target the error message. So the error message is going to be of height 60 pixel, width of 250 pixel, text is going to be of text align center, then border radius of 20 pixel. After this, we're going to have a line height of 1.5 IRM. Below the line height, we're going to have a padding of 0.75 top and bottom, and left and right of 1.5 IRM. Then below the padding, we're going to receive a background color of red, so F00 is basically a red color, just a hex red color. Then color of FFF, which is white, position absolute, top of 5 frame and right of 5 frame. So here if I tap is equal to true, you're going to see it. You see how it's looking right now. Okay, and here why it is like this, let me check here. Here I probably forgot to write something. So where was the title here? The title here, I have background color. I need to remove this thing, I don't know why I have it. Okay, this looks much better. And here I'm going to remove for the form. So guys, go back here for the title, remove it from here, and remove it from the wrapper form. Remove it from here. It was a mistake. So right now it is how it looks. And for the btn here, where is the btn? If I remove here the btn background color, let me see how it's looking right now. Why it's not having a background color here? Let me change it to some other blue. I'm just going to copy paste here the stylings because I have missed probably something, and it's CSS, so it is not important. So instead of losing your time debugging some CSS, I can just copy paste it from here and just paste it like this. So it is going to work. You see, this is how I wanted it to work, guys. So just copy it. Probably I've made some silly mistake, I don't know. Just copy it from the GitHub. I have written it previously. This is how it should look. So we have it here. It looks amazing. So this is for the login.module.css. Let's start typing here the logic. So for the login, we are going to have a few things for the state. So here, let's type, just have some enter here for some spacing. And here, let's type here the email, set email. This is our state for the email. It's going to be use state of an empty string. Below, we're going to have for the password. So password, set password, some state for the password. So it's again going to be a state of an empty string, and below we're going to have an error. So error, set error is going to be initially as a false value because we don't have an error, and below we're going to have const dispatch is equal to use dispatch, and const navigate is equal to use navigate. Here it is automatically imported. And if you wonder what is this dispatch thing here, this is from Redux, and after the login and register I'm going to set up Redux because I want our user data and token from the user to be globally available for the application, and it is necessary. And don't worry, Redux is very easy to learn. If you don't know it, you just stop the video if you don't know Redux, go watch some tutorial for 30 minutes and go back. Redux is very easy. Redux is similar to use context, but it is different, but it has a lot of similarities. Okay, so I'm going to import here from now the use dispatch just to have it, to avoid any errors here, and it is imported from React Redux. Okay, so here let me inspect and check why I have an error. Please provide, because here in the index.js I need to provide something later for the, I'm just going to comment it right now. I know what is the error, but I'm not going to lose your time more. Okay, so let me attach here an on submit event with the function is going to be here a handle login function. So let me go here inside handle login, and let's type. So handle login is going to take here the event in an arrow function. So first, of course, after a form submission, I need to write here event prevent default, because browsers by default after a form submission refresh the page, and I don't want my page to be refreshed, so that's why I do this. And when you watch another YouTuber, every single person do this. So to avoid refreshing the page, this is it. Okay, so here a try catch block, and here I'm going to type here some generic error, console log error. Okay, so let's start with the real thing. So here const response is equal to await fetch http colon 2 dots localhost 2 dots 5000 alt login. And here I have an error for the await. This because we need to specify it as an async function. This is how we can use the async await. Okay, and here an object here to specify some extra information, and here into the headers we're going to specify a content type of application JSON. This means that we're going to send our format into the JSON format. Here a method of post because we send data, and when you send data it is either post or put, and in our case it is post. And below we're going to have the body, so JSON stringify, and here inside we send the email and the password as an object. And then we take the response, we JSON the response, we take data, and here we're going to navigate to our home page. Okay, and here we have the state, but we have not attached here the state. So here let me type on change event, we take the event, and here set email to e.target.value, and I can do it like this, like a function here. Usually it is much better to do it here like a function and return it rather than doing it like this. It is you can read it why it is. I'm not going to explain it because it's going to take me like 3 or 5 minutes. And here the same for the password. You always want to do it like this, like an arrow. It is better for security. Okay, so this is it for the set email and password. And here for the email, I have written here a generic message, but I can do another thing because here we have an error variable. So here I'm going to set the error to true. So again, previous and then returning true. And after this set timeout, we're going to wait here like this. And I'm going to make the error again to false after 2.5 seconds. And again, like this, you want to do it like a function, do it always like this. Okay, so this is it for the login. Let's make our register, and then we're going to make the Redux. So for the register, let's make first again the state. So here username, set username, is equal to use state, an empty initial value, then email, set email is going to be again an empty value initially, and here I can just copy paste it for password, set password, and here confirm pass, set confirm pass. Then we're going to have an error too. So error, set error, and below we're going to have again the navigate. So here navigate is equal to use navigate. And let's start with the JSX. So here class name is going to be of class register. And actually guys, I kind of hate other YouTubers to copy paste, but in our case login and register are very similar, like they are 95% similar. So I'm going to copy them and I'm going to paste them, and the stylings are going to be the same. So I'm going to paste the CSS here from the GitHub. It is basically the same styling so in our login. So here we can go here to components, register. They're basically the same styling, so I'm going to copy paste them and do it like this. And here the difference is we're going to have two more inputs for our register, which are going to be here. I'm just going to copy paste it for our confirm password. Here I'm going to paste it, and here it is going to be for our username. So here HTML4, and here I have not copied it properly. I can just here put a closing. So here HTML4 of username, type is going to be of a text, ID of username, and enter username. And here we have set username. This is it. Here the email is the same, and here we're going to have the confirm pass. So here confirm pass, and it is going to be set confirm pass. Type is going to be our password, ID of confirm pass, and here confirm pass. And usually, as you see here, the confirm pass is above the password, and we want to do it the opposite way. We want the password to be above it. So here I can select it, and with an arrow up I can move it like this. And here instead of login I can place here register, and instead of login here I can do it like this. And here the message is going to be the opposite. So login, already have an account, question mark. Here the class is going to be login, and here login now. Everything else is the same. So let me navigate to the register page. And though login is not defined and link is not defined, probably yes, I forgot to import it, so it is imported. And what was the other error? Handle login is not defined. Oh yes, here I need to make it handle register, but we are still going to have an error because handle register is not defined. So let me make just handle register, an arrow function, async arrow function that is taking the event. And let me see, you see, it is basically like the login, guys. That's why I copy paste this, because there's no point of writing the same thing twice. We don't want to lose our time. Okay, so let's start typing our register function, and as you know, I'm just going to copy paste this function because it is in nature the same. So, and I'm going to show you the difference. So here instead of the auth login, it is going to be auth register. Here for now the same, again a post method, and here we provide a username also. And before doing any of those checks, I want to make an if check. If password is equal to confirm password, if it's not equal, actually if they are not equal, here I'm going to throw an error. So throw new error. It is going to be passwords do not match. Or instead of typing an error, actually we can return. This is it, we can return. So this is for the register, guys. Let's start with our Redux, because when we log in we want to store some information about our user, because when we log in, what is the point of not having some global information about our user? That is the point of having login and register. So inside the nodes components, inside the source directory, let's make a Redux folder, and inside we're going to have two files, so auth_slice.js and store.js. So let's start first with the auth_slice. So we import here, import create slice from Redux.JS toolkit, and I don't see it popping up, so probably I forgot to install it. So sorry for this, guys. Let's install it right now. So here npm I Redux.JS toolkit. Usually it is very normal to make such mistakes, to forget to installing a dependency, because we have a lot of things. Don't worry, this application is kind of complex. So here const initial state is equal to an object, and that object is going to have a user of no and the token of no. This is for our state, our initial state. And then here we have export const out slice is equal to create slice, here parentheses and an object, and the first is going to be the name of our slice, so it is going to be here out. Below this is going to be our initial state, which we have provided here. We can do it like this here, like this, but why we should do it like this? Better is to have some variable here, and here the reducers. So for our reducers, we're going to have login reducer here, which is going to take state and action. This for our login, and here I have some error, probably because I forgot here to do this. Okay, we have no longer an error, and it is going to be very simple. So local storage clear, because we're going to save everything in local storage when we use Redux, specifically Redux persist, which is storing everything into the local storage. And here state.user is equal to action.payload.others. And for the token, state.token is equal to action.payload.token. This is basically for the login, guys. It is very simple. So we have an initial state, and the reducers are manipulating our state. So this is basically what Redux does. The state is the variables here that we have, or the object with the variables, the properties I mean, and here the functions are manipulating our state. So this is it for the login. The register is going to be absolutely one-on-one same. The name is going to be different. It is going to be basically the same. So feel free to copy paste this. And the last, we are going to have a login. So logout, not login, my bad. So logout is going to be here. I forgot the two dots, and the logout is going to be state.user is equal to no, state.token is equal to no, and local storage. Wait, here local storage and the clear method, which is clearing everything from our local storage. And here let's import our functions here that we have defined. So let's import them. So import here, wait, import const login register logout is equal to out slice actions, then export default out slice reducer. So reducer, not reducers, only reducer. So this is for our out slice, and for the store we can just go here into the GitHub, because it is only a boilerplate code, and I again don't want to waste your time on something that is from the documentation. So let's go here to the GitHub and just copy paste it. There is no logic, guys. I repeat, there is no logic. It is just the documentation here. You can look at this code. It is basically taking that out twice and here putting it into a reducer and here into the store. This is basically it. And here let's go to our index, and for our index we are going to import a few things to wrap our applications. It is a must for a Redux. So here provider, which is imported from React Redux, as you see. And here let's wrap our application with provider. Oops, how I went here, I don't know. And here let's wrap the application with this. Okay, and we're going to get one more thing, which is persist gate. This is basically for a React persist. So here again I import it, and again wrap our application. So this is basically I want to go here back. So when we save here the state.user and state.token, and when we refresh the page, we don't lose our state. We keep those values because we have a Redux persist. And this thing here is the Redux persist here. Wait, here the store. Those things here, those things are Redux persist. So don't worry. Let's go back to the index.js, and here we're going to go to the provider, and let's import our store that we have here. Let's import it. So here, just store. And it is automatically imported from ./redux/store. And here for the persist gate, we're going to have persister. So this is it for the Redux, guys. Okay, so we have written the provider here and the persist gate. Let's see here the browser. Let me refresh. Cannot resolve at Redux.js toolkit. At Redux. Let me see where's the problem. So here it's in the Redux directory. So if I do it like this, Redux.js toolkit. Okay, right now I think it would work, and persister is not defined. Let me go back here. Persistor is not defined because we have not imported it, obviously. So if I import it, we have no more error. Perfect. Okay, so I suggest, guys, that we should try the register. So let me click here on the inspect. Let me go back to a register and let me console log the data that we get back. So if everything is working as intended, we should get the token and the user data. So let's say like test user 123. Here the same for the email and the password 123 123 123 123. Okay, so if I click register, let me see if something happens. Wrong credentials, failed to fetch. I think I did not start my server. Let me check. I think that's the problem. Yes, I have not started my server. So cd backend. Wait, I'm in the client. So let me open a new terminal. Cd backend mpx nodemon. And our server is started. Okay, if I try right now to register, let me see. I think it would work. Okay, so you see, we are navigated to the home page because of the navigate, if you wonder why I'm here. And here, as I told you, we get the token and the others. And because we have Redux persist, right now we should do this exactly. So here, dispatch, I think, okay, I need to first declare the dispatch. So here, dispatch is equal to use dispatch hook. And we should import it, of course. So we got this thing here, we have the dispatch, and here register from Redux authorize exactly this function here, which first clears the local storage if we have anything beforehand, and then we reassign the user and the token. And because, as I told you previously, we use Redux persister here, this whole thing is Redux persist, it will be in the local storage. Those data, the initial state, will be in our local storage. So right now, if I do this with the data here, let me go here to the local storage and remove the things here manually. So I click here and slash register and let me see if it's working. Okay, so test user 1234, and right now I think it should work. I mean, it should work, but it should keep the data here into the local storage. There is a previous data in, as you see, user is no and token is no. So if I remove it, it should be not no. So if I click register, you see we have some data here, and you see user username. Wait, I should make this wider. So user username test user 1234, the email the same. Here we get the ID, and if I could make this even more wider for you to see, oh, here I can scroll, I can do it like this, and here, as you see, we have here the token. So everything that I've done here, let me go back here to explain it. Here for the register, everything that I have assigned here has been saved to local storage, and that's the point of Redux persist, to save data globally, plus to be in local storage. Because right now, if I decide to refresh here into the local storage, as you know, it would be there. So if I go again application, it is here. I can refresh as many times as I want. The data is still here, which is the best thing about Redux persist. Okay, so let me go back here. Wait. Let me go back here, and I want to make a few things. So here I want to get the user. So const user is equal to use selector state, and I want to get the state from the auth. So because we name, let me go back again to explain. So here the name is auth, and that's why here I can do it like this. So state.auth, and here I get an object which is the auth, but I decided to destructure so I can get directly like this the user. So let me console log the user, and we should have this value here. Again, I want to console log. Wait, I should make this a little bit smaller. So here, you see here we get the user line 10, and here we are on line 10. And why do it? I want here to make it like this. So here, if I have a user, let me be on the home page. Here, everything is working as intended. But here, if I am not logged in, I want to be redirected to the login page. So here, I want to import this thing. It's from React Redux. It's not from React Redux, but from React Router DOM, and it is navigate. Yes, it's exactly navigate. So here, navigate to login, and I'm going to copy this thing here and paste it for the for here. So okay, so if we are not logged in, we go here to the login. If we're not logged in, if we are logged in, we go to the home. That's what this means. If we are not logged in, we go to the login, and if we are logged in, we go to the home page. And here we do it the same. So here just the register, and here we navigate it again. So this is how it looks like. If we are logged in, we go to the home. If we are not logged in, we go to the login. And here you see, if we are not logged in, we go to the login, and if we are logged in, we go to the home. That's what this means. So here I am right now logged in. So if I decide to go to the login page, I should not go. So if I click here enter, you see here, you see what happens. Let me do it one more time. Nothing happens, and that's the point. So let me close this new tab. Okay, so we have few things to do here. So let me close here the app.js, and I should close here the terminal. I think we should go here to the conversation. Yes, let's go here to the conversation. Where it was? Ah, to the home. Wait, my bad, guys, my bad. Let's go to the home here, and let's start doing the logic. So here we should have a few API calls, but before having the API calls, we should make the state for them to save them. So here conversations, set conversations is equal to use state. So we're going to fetch here with the user ID, as you see here, that is saved in the local storage. We're going to take the user ID, which is, wait, where it was? Yes, here is the user ID. And with that user ID, what we can do, we can fetch the user conversations, so we can get the conversation for the users, which is going to be very helpful. Okay, then we get the messages, use state, because you know every single conversation has messages. Then we're going to get const message, which is going to be used for tracking this input field when we want to make a post request to send a message, and this is going to be just an empty string. Then we have another state, which is last convo clicked, which means last conversation clicked. And when you click a conversation, wait, I'm going to make here the setter function, and I'm going to show you what do I mean by this. So here, last conversation clicked is again an empty string. Okay, so when we click, I want to save the last conversation clicked, and when we click, let's say we click on this one. When you click on this one, I want to take its ID and make a request to get the messages, because the last conversation clicked, I want those messages to be displayed. If you feel confused, guys, it's normal to be overwhelmed, because this application is not that simple if you're a beginner especially. So just stick with me, and I'm going to show you step by step. So here here other user, set other user. This is for the other user that we have a conversation. Okay, and the last part is getting user and token from the use state, from the use selector from Redux. Here state.out, and this is it for the states. So let's start typing the use effects for the conversations and messages. So the first use effect is for fetching the user conversation. So type with me use effect. Here the typical use effect, as you know the syntax. And here we are going to make a function const fetch user convos is going to be equal to an async function, and you must specify here async, not here. You cannot do it like this. You just can't. You are going to get an error. It's not going to work. You need to do it like this in the function async, and here a try catch block, and here into the catch block we are just going to write this. So console error.message, just this. And here into the try we're going to do a little more interesting things. So const response is equal to await fetch here in a template string localhost 5000 the port conversation /find/user ._id. And as I told you, the ID we're going to use to fetch. So if you wonder why I do it like this, we can go here to the backend folder, the controllers folder, and here into the conversation controller. And you see here, get user conversation with its ID. So conversation router get request find/user ID. This is the function here that we're going to call from our server. And here we need to specify a few things. So we are going to, not few things, only one thing actually. So here into the headers, we're going to specify, authorization, 2 dots, a template string here, bearer, a space, and then the token. So the token will verify that it is actually us, that we are logged in, and who is exactly logged in. And how our backend server will understand this, it is because of this function here, guys. If you have not watched my previous video, I advise you to stop this video right now and watch it, because you will feel confused and overwhelmed by the code here. And I'm going to explain this function just for 20 seconds. So it checks if there is something here. It checks if there is not here something. So if this is empty, it will throw an error and we will not continue to the function. So if there is something here and it starts with the bearer and a space here, as you see, we have here a space, we go on to the next line. And here we take from we split the authorization with an empty space, so we get here the bearer and the token next. And we get the first index, which is the second element. I have written the comment here, so we get the token, then we verify it, we check it if it's valid, and if it's valid, we go to the next function. So this is why we need the token. Otherwise, we would not get the user conversations. And then we type await response.json, and let's console log the convos. Right now, I think we would not have any conversations, but we will make some with the postman. So if I refresh the page, as you see, we have nothing. So let's go to the postman and let's make a few conversations. So let's go to the MongoDB, and let's refresh, and let's make some conversations. So collection is loading here, and we were logged in right now, I think, as test user 1234. Okay, so I want to make a post request to the conversation route, and the body, I want to have a receiver ID. We need only a receiver ID here. And before doing this, of course, I need the token, because I'm going to make a post request. So let's go to the application. I'm going to get the token here, where it is. Okay, so the token, it is quite long, as you see here. Okay, I have copied successfully. Go back to the postman and paste it into the headers. As you see, bearer, space, and then the token. Okay, we got here to the body, and let's see with whom I can make a conversation. Let's take test user 123. Let me copy his ID. Let's go here, paste it, and send. Conversation is successfully created. Okay, then we take the test user 3 ID, copy it, paste it, send. And I'm going to take test user 2 again, paste, send, and we should have 3 conversations. So if I refresh the page right now and call the function, I forgot to call the function. So here, fetch user convos, I'm calling the function, and I want the last part before checking the console, I want here to paste my dependency. This is my dependency here, so I paste it here. And when the user ID is changed, I want it to fetch. So if I click here inspect, as you see here, I made 3 conversations and I get an array of 3 elements. So I'm going here to make them visible here. So you see here members, here created at, updated at. So you see here this ID is the same, this ID is the same, this ID is the same. But here this is different from this and from this, but those are the same. The first element of those 3 arrays are the same here in the members array. So this fetch function is working as intended. So instead of console log, we should do this. So set conversations, here previous, and we return the convos. So this is successful. And here, let me just scroll here to see one thing. Okay, so let me remove those dummy conversations, and here let me open the conversations here inside the curly braces. Let me open them, and here I am going to type, as you see, conversations not underscore a question mark, because we would get an error if it is undefined, and obviously into the first render of our page it is going to be undefined, because we are making a synchronous request, and the synchronous request, it could be like a half a second, but those half a second is enough to throw an error. So that's why you should here make this is called optional chaining. Question mark with a dot is called optional chaining. So if you don't know it, you can read it. It is going to be undefined instead of throwing an error. This is what it's basically doing. So here map, and here C, and here I make an instant return with the parentheses. So here I'm going to do it like this, and then conversation, and I'm going to send it. And of course, everything, when you map an element, you need to provide a key. So here the key, and this is it. And the last part, of course, is the current user, and we are going to send our user which we have taken from the state, from our global Redux state. So this is for the conversations, and of course, as I told you, when we click, I want this last convo to be changed, because when it is changed, we can fetch messages from this exact conversation. So if I click here, I want to fetch from these conversations, but if I click on this one, I need to fetch the messages from these conversations. So in order to make this possible, here I make a div here, and I should provide here the key on the topmost element. When you map, you must provide the key on the parent most element. And why I did it like this with the div? Because I want to attach on-click event. And this on-click event, as you see here, it is going to be a function that is going to call set last convo clicked, and it is going to return the was conversation. So when I click here, I want here, oh wait, so sorry for this changing of windows. Oops. So here last, I am just going to copy it because I don't want to make any typo. So here, let me open my console, and I want to show you what do I mean. Why I have an error? I don't know. So here, when I click, you see here, you just see how the ID ends. If I click here, we have here a different ID. Here is F5B, F5E. If I click this one, it is F61. But if I click this one, it is again the first one, F5B, F5B. So by doing this, we have a track of the was conversation that is clicked. And why we do this, as I told you like 5 or 10 times, it is to fetch messages. So what we should do right now, fetch messages. So let's go. So use effect here again, another use effect I need. And here, oops, here the curly braces, here the comma, I just want it to be formatted correctly. And you know, we want to run this use effect on every single conversation that we have clicked. So here the dependency will be was convo clicked. It is going to run on every single click. This thing is going to run on every single click. Okay, enough talking, let's do it. So const fetch messages is equal to async parentheses arrow curly braces. Again a try catch, and you know that in the catch I'm going just to copy this console error. And here for the fetch messages, I'm going to do this. So const response is equal to await fetch inside the parentheses template string http two dots localhost 5000 port /message/ inside the $ and curly braces was convo clicked dot underscore id. This is how we can fetch those messages, but of course we need to provide this thing here, the headers and authorizations. So I'm going to provide it, of course. So here headers, two dots, again curly braces here, and here inside the string authorization and the bearer token. So if I run this function, but you know, use effects run when you specify a dependency and that dependency is changed. So in our case, our dependency is going to change only, you see here, when we click. But why I tell you this? Because it is going to run on the first render, and you know, on the first render we're not going to click. So if I refresh here, it is going to run, but I have not clicked anything, so why would it run? So to avoid this, I'm going to specify this. So we must have a conversation clicked, and then we're going to fetch the messages. If you find that confusing, watch the last minute again and you will going to understand. So here that's how it's going to work, and let's here const data is equal to response.json, and let's console log the data. Of course, right now we're not going to have any messages, so let's go into our postman and let's create some messages programmatically. So here message slash, and let's pick some conversations. So here I'm going to pick the last conversations that I create, and I think the last conversation that I create was with user 2. We're going to find out, it's not a big problem. So here I'm going to get this conversation. I'm going to paste it here, and here the text message text is going to be text 1. So here let me see what I need to specify if I have something else. So message text and conversation ID, and actually the conversation ID I don't need to wait here. As you see here, I don't need to specify it like this. I need to type it in the request not body. This is a parameter. I need to remove it from here. So I remove it from here, and I specified here as a parameter. So here conversation ID, and here I paste it. This is how it should look. Here click send. You see here it is a successful 201. Here text 2. Going to make a few messages here, and this is the final message. Okay. So let me close this, and I think in my home I made it like this. As you see here, this is a mistake, so I should get it like this, and I should remove it like this, and let's make a method of get. We can actually omit this because it is by default a get. You can leave it, it's not a problem, it is by default a get. I'm just going to leave it, but I wanted to do this thing here. So JSON stringify, and here I need to paste the text, or actually wait, what I was doing. So fetch messages, message, I need to specify here only the conversation ID, as you see here. So post and get from convo. Oh, actually wait, I should revert back, guys, my mistake. I was getting confused by another function. So here everything was correct. So you see here everything was correct, revert it back. So right now let me go back here, and okay, I have the console log. So if I go back here, I click inspect console, and if I click here, we have no messages here. If I click here, we have no messages. If I click here, you see we have 4 messages, as I told you. We made 3 conversations, and from the last conversation here, the last conversation, we made 4 messages. It is text 1, text 2, text 3, and text 4. Everything is working as intended for now, and I'm very satisfied. Okay, so this is it, and instead of console log, you know, we make this. So set messages plural, you see, with the S here, and here we return the data. So this is working as successful, and here I want to fetch the other user. So here use effect, because we are going to need the other user data. So here use effect, another function. So here const fetch other user is equal. I know, guys, there are a lot of use effects, but this is our application, so you know. And here const fetch user, again a try catch block, the same here into the catch, and here into the catch block we write const other user ID. So how we are going to get the other user ID, you know, we have saved the what conversation clicked, and inside we have members, because here if I go to the models where it was, we have members. So here we have access to members, and here we're going to do this. So here find member, and we're going to take the member that is not equal to our user ID. So we have 2 people in our conversations, and if that person is not us, it is the other, right? It is kind of, if you probably understand me, it is very easy. So we're going to find the person that is not us, and the person that is not us is the other person, because our conversation consists only of us and only one other person. It is in total of 2 persons. So here const response is equal to await fetch here HTTP localhost 5000 user find, in here other user ID, and we don't need to specify anything else here, no headers, nothing, just like this. So const data is equal to await response.json, and again I'm going to console log it before saving it. So here other user, and of course I need to call the function, I almost forgot here, and here the dependency is the last conversation clicked, because we need it here. Okay, this is it, or actually I can specify other user ID or last conversation. It is both, you can specify both, it's not a problem. I am going to specify other user ID in this case. Other user ID is not defined. Okay, we need to specify last conversation clicked, because this other user ID is in our, you see, it is in our function scope, so we cannot access it outside of our function. That's why it gave me an error. Okay, so if I click here inspect console, you see this is the other user. So test user 1 2 3. If I click here, test 3. If I click here, test 2. So by every single click we get the information of the other user. So this working again as intended, and again at the initial render we have nothing clicked on our last convo, and instead of getting an error we just type here the two ampersands and we are good to go. Okay guys, I think we're ready with those fetch other users, so let's start here. So what we should do here first, let's go into our right side and here let's do it like this. So here, if we have was conversation clicked here, and I'm going to make a React fragment, and if we have was conversation clicked but I want to select it like this, we're going to wrap everything here as you see. So we are going to wrap everything, but here if I don't have a was conversation clicked, I'm going to display a message, and the message is going to be an h1 here, click a conversation, and here I'm going to make it lowercase, and I can make the curly braces on the next line to make it more readable, and here I'm going to provide some inline styling. So text align is going to be center, then margin top of 2 rem, and color is going to be of a white color, so FFF. So let me go back to my web page, and you see here I have clicked nothing and it is displaying click on conversation, and if I click something it is displaying here that conversation. So it is working as intended. Okay, so let me go back here, and the next part that we should do is here to show the messages, of course. So here I'm going to remove those dummy messages here that I have provided, and here I'm going to map through the array. So here, if the messages optional chaining again question mark dot length is more than 0, I'm going to map through them. So messages map message, again an instant return here, and I'm going to provide here, wait, why I have an error here? Because it is like this. Okay, so it's going to check if you have messages, and here I'm going to provide again, wait, I'm on my home alphabet, the Bulgarian one. Wait, okay, I reverted back to English. So we have an h1, no messages yet, comma, be the first one to send, and here I'm going to provide some styling. So text align is going to be again of a center, and color is going to be of a white color. So this is for the else. You can read this like else, the ternary operator. So if else, this is basically if else but a lot shorter and elegant syntax. And here I'm going to specify some props. So here messages is messages, then key is going to be message dot underscore id, then on. This means if that message is on, because you know, wait, I'm just going to specify here the condition dot sender id is equal to user dot underscore id. So you know, you see here dot messages, this when someone sent a message, but when you sent a message you want it to be on the other end, on the right side, and with this on we're going to make that condition to be made possible. And here the last part is here the message, I'm going to specify it but in curly braces. So I think this is it for now. Let me go into the message component and let's start writing the code for our message component. So here let's go to the message component, I'm going to close the conversations, and let's take those values. So I'm just going to copy them like this, here paste them, and let me remove this, here comma, I'm going to remove the key because it's not a prop. Here I'm taking the on, and here I'm taking the message. So let me see what I need to do. Okay, so here I need to make an React fragment. I'm going to wrap everything into an React fragment, and I'm going to make here a condition. So if the message is not mine, so if it's not mine, let's make it like with the ampersand, and I'm going to wrap this thing here. And the opposite logic. So if the message is mine, I'm going to just copy paste this, and I'm going to modify it in just a second. So for this here, what I have to do, so here, hey, how are you? This is the text, message dot text, and here for hours ago, I'm going to import right now the library that I have installed, which was the time ago. So we import the format function from timeago.js. So we can take the format function here that I have imported, and here inside the parentheses message dot created at. So this is for our own when we have this not from our own, this from the other user message, and this for our own. And here I want to change some of the structure in the JSX. I want to take this image here on several lines below. So you see here that image, I'm going to take it just below this div here, so below the message and time ago. And here I'm going to do the same thing. So again, here message text, and here the format when it was created. And lastly, here, as I told you earlier, if you were confused, here we have container.own. So if you have worked with modules, CSS modules, you probably wonder how I can put multiple classes here. Right now I'm going to show you. So I remove this class here and I put some, how they were called, template strings. Yes, so those are template strings. So inside the template string, I'm going to put $sign and curly braces, classes.container space, dollar sign again with the curly braces, classes.own. So this is how we can have multiple classes inside class modules. And the last thing that I want to do is here, you know, when you send a message, I want it to be I want it to scroll down. So here const ref is equal to use ref. I want to import the use ref, and here use effect. So here ref current scroll into view behavior smooth. This is to scroll the page to scroll here on the bottommost. So here I don't see the message here, which is kind of interesting. So, you know, let's debug. So here actually we don't need to debug. I think I know why it is. So here it's message.text. It should be message text, I think. Let me see here. And I want to copy it for the other one. If you see, I think that's the mistake. Okay, I was right, guys. So you see here right now it is working. You see 17 minutes ago, and I did those messages exactly 17 minutes ago. So if I go back to the postman, I can make a fifth message here. I can send. Here I'm going to refresh here. You see first we have click conversation. We click here that conversation, and we have here just now. So the message here, oops, let's go back here, is working as intended. So let me see what we have left to do here. So if I go to my home component, I think, oh yes, we have a very important part to do. We need to make the functionality to send messages. So here I have provided this here message. So here I'm going to track the state. So here on change, we take the event here, and here set message is going to be previous e.target.value, and here I want to have this value to the message. So it is a control input. This thing is called control input. If you wonder what is called, you can check. And then I make here an on-click function to the button, which is going to be handle post message. Let's start with the function. So here you see here the handle post message. We go here above the return statement. Handle post message is going to be an asynchronous function, and inside the curly braces we are going to write the code. Okay, so a try catch block here, console error.error for the catch block, and here we type const response is equal to await fetch http localhost 5000/message, and here inside the curly braces we are going to provide several things. So here headers, first we provide content type application/json, and then the bearer token. So here authorization bearer and the token, space and the token. Then we need to specify explicitly that it's a post request, because we sent data to the server. That's what post request means. And then the body, so json.stringify, here parentheses and an object, conversation ID, last conversation clicked, because you want to send the message to the last conversation clicked, right? And then we specify the message text is equal to our message, and below we do it like this. So set messages, we take the previous messages, we spread the array, and here we add our message, but we have an error because I was typing it inside, and in order to put the message here, of course we need to take the response, we need to get the response and format it with the JSON function, and here I can just directly here put this data here that I get back. So I think right now it should work. And here the last part is to take the message here, and I'm going to make it an empty string like this. So right now if I type something, and if it works properly, it should be there. So if I type, let's say, text 6, click send, and you see it is here, but I don't know why it's not scrolling here. You see it's not scrolling. I have the message here and it's not scrolling automatically. I think I know the mistake. Let's go back here to the messages, and I forgot here to specify the ref. So here a ref and ref, and the same for the other one. I can just copy paste it here and paste it. Okay, so right now it should work. Let me write something. You see here right now it is working. When we send a message, it is going automatically to the downmost part of our element, and I can scroll here as I want to. But there is a problem. We see when we send messages, but if another person sent messages to us, we cannot see it. Why? Because we have no socket. We have installed the socket, but we have not done anything. We have not written any logic with the socket. But before doing this, I see this border here. Can I fix it? I'm going to give myself 30 seconds because I don't want to lose your time with some dummy things like this. So let me go here to the home. Let me go to the input. I think I know why it's like this, but I'm not exactly sure. If I make 1, let me refresh the page. I wonder why it is like this. I need to provide some padding here to the title. Let's make it like this. If I refresh, let's make here, where is the height? If I make it like 65, wait, I need to make it like 57, 58, 59. Okay, you see here 59, it is aligned perfectly. Okay, so we fixed this very fast. I am very fulfilled that I did not lose my time doing some CSS, so it is perfect here. And when I click here, you see it is working, everything is perfect. And here, can I add here the border width? So here, if I refresh the page, here I have the border width. I'm not sure if, here it's transparent. Oh, this is the button. Wait, here, border. Okay, so you see here we have the border and everything's working perfectly. But as I told you, we need to do some things with the socket. And if you don't know what is socket, again, I'm going to tell you guys, stop this video, watch some tutorial on socket.io, because this thing is a little bit more complex. It is not hard, but it's going to take you some time to understand, at least in my case. I remember that I needed some time to understand it, to say the least. So let's start with our socket. So here, socket, I'm just going to specify here the socket variable. So here, const socket is equal to use ref. But if you don't know what is socket, it is basically for live messaging. So you know, when you play some video games, you know how everything is happening on the same time. Like you play with 5 friends and you get the same information instantly without refreshing servers and stuff. So this is socket. Especially when you have a leaderboard and those points on the leaderboard are changed constantly, or there is a crypto application which you see the prices are changed constantly. This is the socket. So okay, enough talking, so let's start. So const here coming message, we are going to need this thing, set coming message is equal to use state, and let me import the socket. So here import io from socket.io client. You see here we have successfully imported it. And let's type here a use effect to initialize our socket server, so our socket connection. So here socket.current is equal to io, here inside a string ws 2 dots / localhost, and here the port number that I'm specifying. So this is for our front end. So I'm going to close here everything, and let's go to my socket folder and to the index.js. So here new file, but before making the new file, I almost forgot here, I need to open a new terminal, cd socket npm init y, and I'm going to install NodeMon to have automatic refresh of the server instead of manually doing it. So, okay, then we type index.js, and here const io is equal to require socket.io, and here another parenthesis 8080 comma, and here an object course. This means from which URL we can communicate, and you know we are on localhost 3000 as you see here. So let's go. HTTP localhost 3000. Okay, and then we should go. We should yes, okay. So wait, I was looking at my code. That's why I was thinking something. So okay, see here, let users is equal to an empty array, and here this is how you start a connection. So here io dot on connection, and here we get a socket, and then we send events and we take events. So this is how you take an event from the socket server. So socket.on is taking an event. So the first event that we should take is add user, and we get the user ID, and we do add user ID and socket.ig. So you probably wonder how is this coming and how is this coming. Okay, so let me go back to my home page and let's write this at user. So here I'm going to specify a new use effect. Actually, I know guys, there are a lot of use effects, but don't worry. So here another use effect, and inside those use effects we're going to send an event. So we're going to send an event from our client to our socket server. So this is how you send an event. So socket.current.emit, emitting an event. You can read it like English. So socket emit event, and here the event is at user, and here we send our user ID. So here we sent an event. I'm just going to copy this for the dependency. We have here a dependency. So here we sent the event with the user ID, and here we take the event. Socket.on is taking that event, and here is the user ID, and here we add that user. But first we need to write that function. So let me write that function. So here function at user is at user, here user ID and socket ID. Oops, I was doing an arrow function, but it's a normal function statement. Okay, so first we check if we have already added that user. So we check if we have added that user ID is equal to user ID. So if this user is not present in the array, that's how you can read this thing. If this user is not present in the array, we push the user. So users dot push parentheses user ID socket ID. So if we have no user, we push that user, and I'm going to console log this thing right now because I know guys you probably confused. So where I can go, okay, I'm going to console log this thing here. Oops, wait, console log users. So here let me start my socket server. Oops, npx NodeMon. We have here some error. Let me see, cannot find socket.io. Oh, I have not installed socket.io. Okay, so here in the socket I completely forgot to install that thing that I have required. So npmi socket.io, and then we are going to start our server. So we have installed it, npx NodeMon. Okay, right now it is empty. You see here this user is empty, but if I refresh the page we should get something if it's working correctly, but we don't get anything. I wonder why. Here if I console log here the user ID and socket ID and then refresh. Okay, so here we get the user ID and we get here, this is the socket ID. It's looking a little bit weird, at least in my opinion. Here we get this thing at user with the user ID. So if I want to go into this function, if I go into this function here below and I console log this, if I refresh and console log below this function, okay, so it is adding perfectly, but it was console log before adding it, so we could not see nothing inside this array. So right now this is the array. You see here users, and here we have an object user ID with our user ID and our socket ID. So guys, we are getting almost to the end. We are like 90% done. So we're good to go. Okay, I'm going to make few more functions. So when we have connection, we have a disconnection. So this is again a function, an event, not a function, which is by default. So connection and this thing here, which is disconnect, those are by default from socket. But those events here are custom. The add user is something that we have written ourselves. This event we have created it ourselves. But this disconnect and connection, those two are by default from socket. We have not created them previously. So if you get confused, you can read again, as I told you, the documentation. So here, let's start. So here, disconnect, and here we remove the user with the socket ID here, and we again emit io.emit get users, or actually, I don't know why I have written this, so I'm going to remove it. So this is only for the disconnect. So remove users, and let's make that function. So here, to remove the users of function, remove user socket id, here curly braces, users is equal to users dot filter. We get an individual user, and you want to return every single user that is not, wait, with the socket id I want to return every single user that is not equal to the user with that socket id. So here, this is how we remove a user, because we don't want to have 10 of the same users. So this is for now, and let's make into the home. I want to make some events. So here, let's go to the home, and let's make some events. So here, if I scroll back, whoops, the terminal is very big. I know it's kind of annoying, at least to me. And here, when we send a message, I want to emit an event which is sent message. So here, below set messages, I want to do it. So socket.current.emit, here send message, comma, curly braces, and here we specify the data. So sender id user dot underscore id, other user id, and text message. But the other user id, you see here, we have not written this variable, so let's write it. So I can write it like this. I just want to have some spacing here. Okay, so const other user id is equal to last convo clicked members find member, and we want to get the member that is not our own user. So this is the other user, as you may know. And here you probably wonder why I do it like this and not dot underscore id, because the members themselves are IDs only. So we get directly the ID like this. And here I have written it, so we are ready with this thing. So into the index.js, as you know, we go here, oops, into the index.js we go, and here we take this event. So socket.on send message, here comma, and here with the structure, so sender id, other user id, and text, and here curly braces, and here const user, we get the user by id, because we have the sender id and the other user id, and here we can get them by their id. So other user id, but again, you probably see this function, we have not created it yet, so let's create it. So function get user by id is equal to user id arrow. Actually, this is not arrow function. I don't know why I write arrow functions, it's my habit. Okay, so return users dot find user dot user id is equal to user id. So this is how we can get a user by its id. So we get the user by id, and then we send an event. So here, this is how you take an event from client, and this is how you can send an event. So we are going to set an event like this. So this is how you send to an individual event. So user.socket id, because with the id, with the user id, the user id, we cannot do anything in socket, but with its id, we can get the user as a whole and then use its socket id, because socket work only with socket id. If you wonder why I did not do it like this, it would not work. It should be like this. You should use the socket id, and then emit message, which is going to be the event of get message, and here again comma curly braces, and here we emit the sender ID and the text. Okay, so let's go back to the home page and we send the message and we need to take it somewhere. So just a second, we go here above and here let's take it. So socket.current.on get message, here comma, data, set coming, yes, set coming message, and here, you know, when we get that data, which is that data that we send here, sender ID and text, here set commit message, we get it. So sender ID, data dot sender ID, message text, which is data dot text, and here created at, which is date dot now. So this is how we get those data. And how we're going to populate this data right now, you may ask. So here we make the last use effect, guys. I promise this is the last use effect here that we have. And here we have use effect. So use effect, again, the usual syntax of use effect. And here socket dot, actually no socket, we are done with the event. So coming message, which we check if we have a coming message, then we check if the wars conversations dot members dot includes coming message dot sender ID. So if we are on the current, if we get a message and we are on this conversation, then we want to populate this message. Otherwise this thing is not necessary, because, you know, with every single click we make a database request. We want to populate only those conversations that we are in. If let's say I'm user 1 and we have conversations with user 2, and I'm in the conversations between the user 2. So I'm user 1, there's user 2, and we are both in the same conversations, and he sends me message and we are both in the same conversation and we are chatting at the moment. So if he sends me a message, I want myself to see it at the moment. But let's say user 3 texts me, there is no point of doing this thing, because I have not opened these conversations and I'm going to see the message when I click, and I'm going to make a request to the database. So we need to be in that conversation. So if you feel confused, guys, you can just check this logic. I know that I did not explain it as I should, but it's not that hard again. So here we type the message, and I think right now everything should work. So let's open my Google here, and let's go here to localhost 3000. Here I have been not logged in or what, so here logged in. Here, I know why it is. I know why it is behaving like this, because previously I have used it from another application. So right now we should refresh. I'm into the login, so I register now, and actually I can log in, and I have here with those users. But wait, I didn't do this. So here you see those names here. I want to change these things, because of course I want to display the person's names. So I did the most complex thing, but I did not do the easiest thing. Okay, so we go to the conversations. Here we go to the conversations, and we get here conversation and user, right? So here to the conversation set user, const other user, set other user. So the other user, we're going to do it like this. So use effect const fetch other user is equal to async. So const other user ID is equal to conversation.members.find member, which member is not equal to our user.id. Okay, so this for the other user ID, and then we make a request. So const response is equal to await fetch HTTP localhost 5000, and I think I made already such a thing, so I can just copy it from here. I can just copy this thing here, just those two lines. I can paste them, and yes, and then we're going to save the user. So set other user previous data. and the dependency is this one. Actually, again, we cannot take it because it is out of our function scope, only conversation, like this. And here fetch other user. Again, to be able to fetch this, we need to have conversation, otherwise it would not work. Oops. Again, if we have conversation, we fetched. And let's take the other user, and here curly braces, other user, username. And right now it should be displayed here the names. Why it's not working? Let me check other user. Cannot read properties of undefined reading ID. Line 11, which is our user ID. Because I have named it, I think, current user. Yes, I am right. So it is current user, not just user. So change it here to current user and here to current user. And right now, okay, it is working. So test user 1, 2, 3, test 3, and test 2. So this is working correctly, but still here is this name here. So I want to change it. So I think which this is in the home component. Let me check. Is this in our home component? So let's go here. Other user dot username. Oops. So here it is working right now. We have fixed these things here. So you see here test 2, test 2. If I click here on test 3, here we have test 3. No messages yet, be the first one to send. Okay, so this is ready, but I want to check that thing here. So I need to log in. Wait, we have here test. The messages here are from test 2. So I'm going to log in as test 2. So test 2 at gmail.com 123 login. Password you just used was found in that data breach. Oh yes, 123 was probably found in that data breach. I mean, this very stupid password. But I was not logged in. I wonder why. I'm going to try again. So test to gmail.com 123. What is happening here? Wait, am I sending this data to the server? Let me check. Oh, I forgot to dispatch. Wait, so dispatch login, but I have not imported the dispatch. Wait, like this. So then login, but I need to open Redux to be able to import it with the IntelliSense. So login data. So test to Gmail 123, and okay, I am in. So if I click, okay, so this user. So right now, wait, I want to minimize this thing and open my Brave browser here, minimize it too. So let's make it like this. I don't know, it looks ugly, guys, but here if I send message, it should pop up if it's working right. So here, hey, you see here, we getting a message here. So here if I click send here, I'm not getting the message here. So we have some things to do. If I open here a new terminal, let me see what is the problem. This is the final thing, and we are ready with the application. So commit message, set commit message, and here we have probably missed the dependency. Yes, we have missed the dependency. I think that's the problem here. So should write here commit message and was convo clicked, and right now I think it would work. So you see right now it was okay, it is working. I just forgot to put the dependency. So here this is how it should look like. So here if I type something like, hey bro, web dev mania is the best channel, send, and here it is popping up. So guys, that was the entire video. Please subscribe and have a great day. Bye.